Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fire Force Chapter 232. When we last left our heroes, Sho and Arrow were continuing their investigation into Sho and Shinra's father, eventually leading them to a community center whose president had drafted up notices 17 years ago about supposedly Mari having a virgin birth before he was shut down by the church. And as Sho turned to leave after learning that information, he started an Adola link with Mari herself. So let's jump right on into chapter 232, with Mari and Sho kind of staring each other down, as much as Mari can stare at anyone anymore. Mother and son connected by Adola link. What is she planning from the world of Adola? Mother! This is Sho, of course. What the hell? What the hell happened to you? Then we have a cover picture of Shinra doing his corna, and I can't really tell what this is supposed to say. These blocks over here. Hero, Devil, Son, and Brother. The mystery of his birth draws near. Chapter 232, Mari Kusakabe. So yeah, 17 years ago. Alright, we jump right into flashback time. So is Mari, like, sharing this with Sho via Adola link, though? I don't know, but anyway. A doctor asks Mari, "You don't know who the father is?" "That's right. You're telling me you've been with so many men you can't keep track? Aren't you still in school?" No, that's not it. I'm saying I have absolutely no idea what's happening. I've never even had any experience with men. And we have a shot of, I guess, Mari's stomach, where we can't really see much of a baby bump there, but you know who's in there. That doesn't change the fact that you've got a baby growing inside of you. If we run tests, we'll know whether or not you're a virgin. Please, I just want to know what's going on. I've never heard of a virgin pregnancy, but the results of the test are clear. It's impossible to believe. I know her parents don't believe her. I heard they disowned her. They must be very strict. I feel so bad for the girl. He kicked. And so this is apparently sometime later. They've done tests. It is somehow a virgin birth. Which I think was kind of obvious from a narrative standpoint. It'd be really weird to go down this long-ass path if they weren't going to go there. But, Mari's... Which I think actually does kind of add an extra dynamic to what we know about Mari's mother not accepting Shinra after the Kusakabe fire. But anyway, oof. And then I think it's even longer now. She looks bigger. You're getting big, aren't you? The nurse comes in. How are you feeling? I was wondering, Abe-san. Please, I'm not an Abe anymore. Eh? My parents don't believe this is a virgin pregnancy at all. They said, we're not going to have a daughter got knocked up by some nobody. And disown me. They told me to never use the Abe name again. So I guess Abe is just, or Kusakabe is something kind of made up by Mari? Alright, that's interesting. What? That's awful! But Mari just kind of laughs. Mari-san, there's nothing to laugh about. Ha ha ha, no. The thing is, they're paying for the childbirth and aftercare, so really I'm the one burdening them. The nurse just kind of looks at her. They say the relationships end when the money runs out, but I guess the money doesn't always run out just because the relationship ends, huh? I should write that down. Okay, it's weird they would disown her, but then still pay to raise Shinra. Alright, Mari-san, if you're struggling, tell us. That's what we're here for. I really appreciate that. And then we hear a badump from her womb. You sure love kicking. I bet you're going to use those feet for everything. There's some foreshadowing. Is it foreshadowing if it technically happened? We get it after it happens in the future. You know what I mean? Maybe he's cheering his mommy on. I guess he is. His mommy. And just then she feels something. What's wrong? I think it's time. Oh, that just happened. Push, Mari-san. I can see the head. Breathe, deep breaths. And she is definitely breathing. Phew, phew. And then she just starts screaming. But then Shinra's born. As I was reading that page, I was thinking about another devil birth that we read earlier this year in Blue Exorcist, and I was just thinking this is much calmer than that birth. I don't know. I guess there are kind of some very vague similarities with SSC. A sudden shift to the mother of the main character being the protagonist, the devil imagery that Shinra and Rin both have. But it's a minor thing that's kind of popped into my head. Anyway, Shinra's born. His breathing and heart rate are both normal. I can't believe it. I once heard of a baby being born covered in flames, so I was wondering what kind of kid she'd have, but... and then a doctor walks in. Oh, also, speaking of Rin, there we go, baby being born covered in flames. How are you doing, Mari-san? Is the baby okay? He's the picture of health. Thank goodness. So, what on earth happened to me? That's a good question. I'm afraid we still don't know. I see. I don't know too much about it, but there's a pre-cataclysm legend about this sort of thing. No, I've been saying... As I said last week, don't make Shinra into a Christ figure, and here they are about to make Shinra into a Christ figure. Anyway, Mari listens to him. A woman who had yet to sleep with her husband became pregnant, a virgin birth, and apparently the one who told the woman about her pregnancy was a servant of God, an angel. Apparently, the baby that was born was a savior, a hero who came to save the world. I mean, maybe that's where... Because wasn't Mari the one to kind of push Shinra towards that hero imagery? Also, it does kind of come in with a series very, very fast and loose knowledge of, like, Christianity. Because Christ was very, like... The imagery that hero comes into is very, like... He kind of pushed against that, if you read the Gospels. Not to turn this into a religion channel, but it was very much his thing was he wasn't this kind of action hero that Shinra's imagery of hero is. But anyway, so that would make me the mother of the savior. Not too shabby, huh? And then sometime later, Mari is holding the baby Shinra. Oh my little one, what will I name you? And Shinra wakes up. Nah! And the door creaks open, and Mari turns to see who's entered. And it's apparently her mom. Mom? And then Mari's mom sees Shinra and says, So you actually gave birth to him, the child nobody asked for. And Mari just kind of hangs her head. You gave birth to the child of some nobody. And you don't even know who the father is? What kind of whorish life have you been hiding from me? You're a wretched, filthy little girl. This is how you repay your father and I? You ignore your parents' wishes and have a child nobody wants? And Mari just looks away, which is very different from what she was telling the nurse. So it definitely does seem like she was lying to the nurse, trying to assuage the nurse's fears or worries about her. You chose the filthy brat some garbage left you with over your own parents? And then her mom points at Mari. Don't touch him! And then she, tries to protect Shinra. Who would want to touch that thing? It's disgusting. This is the perfect chance to cut you out of my life for good. But I'll give you one last piece of advice. That child will bring you nothing but misfortune. And then she slams the door on him. And Mari kind of collects herself after her mother leaves, and she comforts Shinra. It's okay, honey. You're not unwanted. The world needs you. You're the hero who's going to save this world. Shinra. And Shinra laughs. Hee 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 hee. The day the hero was born, curses flew and love bloomed. Does this birth signal a miracle and the world's salvation, or something else? To be continued after 233, Guardian Angel. And then we have a color version of the last page. Alright. So, this isn't really what I was expecting with this chapter. I was expecting something more in line with, like, actual answers, because we really don't get that. The closest thing we get to an answer is, the doctor vaguely telling Mari about Jesus. And again, given the Church of the Soul's very, like, Catholic, depiction, their, like, imagery, their aesthetic, very Catholic aesthetic, I'm wondering if there's some kind of connection there. I mean, it's not subtle about trying to make Shinra into some kind of Jesus analog. And I don't really know if that works. I don't know. It's just a really weird thing to shove into a manga in the final act of the series. Oh, by the way, the main character and his brother were from a virgin birth. But anyway, back to my point is that we don't really find out how it happened. Like, when Mari shows up at the end of last chapter, I was like, oh, we're going to get some answers, some genuine, here's what happened, right? And we don't really get that. We see it play out through Mari's eyes, but Mari doesn't know what happened. The doctors don't know what happened. She's just kind of given birth, and then Grandma comes in, and she's like, fuck you, and then it's kind of it. And, like, it's good enough. It's good enough. And I imagine next chapter being Guardian Angel will, given a lot of the angel imagery that Sho has, will kind of continue on that path. Seeing Sho's birth, and maybe this time get some answers. I'm not entirely sure. But this chapter, it's definitely not bad. It's a really good chapter. We find out a good, like, some trivia things, you know. Mari's last name was originally Abe instead of Kusakabe. And honestly, that's kind of it. We got the Christ idea, the origin of Shinra's hero complex. But honestly, for all of the answers this chapter promises, we don't really find out that much that we didn't kind of learn the past two chapters. I don't know. It's just kind of a weird chapter on its own. So we'll see how this whole plotline wraps up in the coming weeks. Hopefully we'll get something vaguely like an answer as to how exactly Mari is having virgin births all the time. Would she have had more virgin births if she had not died, like, less than a year after Sho was born? Who's to say? I don't know. It's just a really, really weird thing to throw in at the very end, but I'm enjoying it. It's just a really weird plot line. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this video up here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, please drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!